for chewing gum. How he started, he sold soap. He included one piece of chewing gum, and people started buying it for the chewing gum, so he stopped selling the soap. It will always be the Wrigley Building today. Pretty cool building. Now this is the Chicago River. We are on the Chicago River. How deep is the river? 22 feet deep. How deep is the river? Yes, you got to answer a few questions to get off that boat, right? The other fun question people always ask me, are there fish in this river? Yes, 77 different types of fish. How many different types of fish? All right, there might be a few questions on the tour. You guys ready? All right, everybody can hear me okay? All right, here we go. Now our next building we're going to talk about on our right side, we got people up there on the 16th floor there. Now this is Trump International Hotel and Tower. This is the second tallest building in Chicago, 1,362 feet tall. It was built in 2009, the architect Adrian Smith. Now looking at this building, you guys can see the antenna up there. That antenna, it's called a spire, so it's non-removable. It counts for the height of that building. And this building is a 5-star luxury hotel, and residential people as well live in this building. This building's wrapped in steel with a glass facade. It actually has the most concrete of any residential building here in our city. Now, where's the tallest building in the world today? Shout it out. Dubai, the Burj Khalifa. Guess who the architect is? Adrian Smith. You want to know how tall the tallest building in the world is? 1.5 towers of that building right there. Now he's working on the tallest building in the world. It's going to be in Saudi Arabia. 2 of these towers. I know, Adrian Smith, isn't he incredible? His office is here in Chicago. In fact, I toured it last weekend. And his office is very fascinating. If we have some time, I'll share with you on the tour. Now, coming under this bridge to our right, see the square black building? This is Mies van der Rohe. He was a German, came to Chicago. Look at this building, no ornamentation, less is more. This is international style. You see this building all over the world, this style. It's American Medical Association today. But look in the middle of that building. You see the extra ventilation in that building? Why is that? That was formerly the IBM building. You guys remember those old IBM computers? They generated so much heat, they needed extra ventilation. Now, Mies van der Rohe, he was a teacher like myself. He had a student by the name of Bertrand Goldberg. Look at Marina City, Marina Towers, the Corn Cobs, 19 rows of parking, 878 apartments built in 1967, 1969. These are the most photographed residential buildings here in the city. Now his philosophy, there are no right angles in nature. Look at, he brought us a slice of deep dish pizza or a slice of pie as your apartment. When you go in that building, in the middle is the elevator, movie theater, grocery store, restaurant, and a K-6 private school still in that building today. So it makes sense, right? City within a city, all the things you need. Twice a car's gone off for a movie. Steve McQueen, and for a commercial. Their parking's all valet. And they do go up for sale. I saw one up for sale the other day. Over here to your right, the American Bar Association, built in 1987. Skidmore, Owens, and Merrill. You're going to hear that name quite a bit on the tour. In fact, you can drive a fancy boat up there and go eat or walk. Very good pizza. Portofino's thin crust, it's pretty good. To your right, this is a typical warehouse in Chicago. Look at the red terracotta brick. Built in 1914, George Nimmons is the architect. It's called the Reed Murdoch Center. Now it's asymmetrical today. Look at 6 columns on the right. You got the center column, 5 on the left. They had to take a portion of the building down to widen the road, which is LaSalle today. Now what's at the very top of that typical warehouse? A clock, yeah. Why do we have clocks on our warehouses? Well, in the 1900s, it was a luxury to own a watch. This way people knew what time it was and what time to report to work. See, in the winter when we can't get our phones out and our watches, we just look up on our warehouses to see the time. Now over here to your right, look at the trees, beautiful, changing. This is 300 North LaSalle. This is a LEED Platinum building, Leadership, Energy, Environment, Design. You're like, what does that mean? It's like the Oscars for movies, for buildings. Now how they keep that building cool? They take the river water all the way to the top of this building. It flows through the building and cools it. Now when the water comes back into the river, it's warming up. You guys remember how many different types of fish we have in our river? Well done. Sunday morning, yes. In fact, 3 weeks ago, I had a lady on the tour. She said in the summer that building is freezing cold, so it works well. Over here to your right, look at this, the merchandise mart. This is Art Deco. See the vertical lines? They draw your eyes to the top. You see the setbacks and the ornamentation. This was built in 1930. It is 4.5 million square feet. You're like, Justine, how big is that building? It takes up 5 acres of land. In fact, it's so large, it used to have its own zip code, 60654. And there's only one building that's larger. It takes up more space. It's in Washington, D.C., starts with a P. Pentagon. I got the Google boat. I like this. Now, this was built in 1930. Do you guys know who Marshall Fields is? He's like a department store, right? A Macy's, a Nordstrom's. He had 14 warehouses all over Chicago, paid $30 million to have it built. But then in 1942, he owed some back taxes. Now, I have some locals on the boat. Illinois, second highest property taxes in the United States today. Anybody on the boat from New Jersey? You guys are number one, yes. Sold the building, $13 million, 1942 to the Kennedys. The Kennedys sold it 1998, $575 million. Not a bad return on investment. Now the Kennedys own Wolf Point today. That's Wolf Point East, 4 years old, residential. Coming up in front of the boat to the right, this is a Salesforce building, our newest building. Now this is where Chicago was found. The Native Americans came to Chicago in 1830s, opened their first trades and tavern, and they called it Chicago. Now my locals know what does Chicago stand for? Strong, stinky, wild, smelly onions, because that's what used to grow there. See, New York, home of the Big Apple. Chicago, we're the home of the smelly onions, apparently. Now we're coming out of the East Branch, and we're going to go south in a little bit, but we're going to go north. Now this part of the river, it's called the Junction. In fact, what letter represents Chicago? The letter Y. Have you guys seen the Cubs jerseys? We have our city jerseys. If you look along the fence line, above the white concrete, look on the fence, you see the circle with the letter Y. Pretty cool about our city. I do a little scavenger hunt with my students on the first week of school. Tell me where all the Y's are in our city. It's kind of fun. Now over here to your left, we're gonna go left. Anybody downstairs, move to your left or come upstairs. This is River Bend. See how it bends with the river? That's called contextualism. Now this is James DeStefano, is the architect, residential. They bought these in 2002. They each paid $1.2 million. And then, boom, look what went up in front of them. Ooh, you know that TikTok, oh no, yes. Did they know that possibly would go up? They did know. Additional $50,000 for parking. It is valet because it's so narrow. To your left, this red building, the Fulton House. This was an old dairy warehouse. We stored cheese and butter here. You see the starfish and the portholes at the top, but look inside the concrete, inside the balcony, 6 feet of solid concrete. Now Harry Weiss, he loved the nautical theme, so the portholes, the starfish. It took 6 months, 500 truckloads to remove all the horsehair and cork in that building to convert it to residential. Here's your 4 original Chicago cottages. Harry Weiss, as we go by, look back, it looks like sails on a sailboat. Now, those were built in 1988. They each have their own private dock and parking. Now, they paid $1 million a piece, and then one sold 3 years ago, $2.6 million. So pretty good return there on investment again. Now, we're going to bounce left or right, then left. This is the East Bank Athletic Club. I call it the bougie athletic club here in Chicago. Now, we never had windows on this athletic club. In fact, we never came down the north branch of the river. It smelled bad. It was disgusting. You can see the different color of the water over here as well. Then we cleaned it up, put in these walkways, the trees, and they added these beautiful windows. Now, some famous people that have worked out there, Oprah Winfrey, Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Steve Kerr, and the Obamas have all been members there. But let's go real quick to the left. Look at these 70 European cottages. Aren't these gorgeous? 4 levels. Down below is the garden. The second floor is the balcony with the family room and kitchen. And all the way at the very top is the master bedroom with that beautiful balcony. In fact, early in the morning they complain about us, and late at night they complain about us. Now these all sold in 2003. For $1.3 million a piece. Every one of them sold before they were even built. In fact, you can walk in here, but you must register and be out by 9 o'clock. So I think Tuesday night I'm going to walk in here. I've been here 4.5 years and I haven't been in there. Okay, back to the right side of the boat. We're going to stay to the right now. This is an old printer's warehouse. Once again, see the red colored brick, built in the 1930s. In fact, on the first and second level, they each have 2 fireplaces. And the reason they have 2 fireplaces, that's how they kept that warehouse warm for the workers in the wintertime. Now, when you see these balconies added on, that's called adaptive reuse. So it's residential today. Now, where do you find adaptive reuse? Everywhere. New York, San Francisco, Austin, Cincinnati, Boston, pretty much everywhere. Denver as well. Isn't this lovely? I mean, this is, whoever picked this trip, good job, right? Good job, yes. I mean, look at the trees, they're all changing. So I'd say in the last week, our trees finally started really changing here in the city. In the morning is the best time to take the tour. All right, we got a lot on the right side. Here we go. This is Montgomery Ward's Park. There's a children's play area, a water park, a dog park. But look in the distance. See the glass building with the chevron or the triangle? Those are European industrial style architect. Now we only have 2 of them. Kingsbury on the park and Erie on the park. Residential, of course, but look at their view. And then look over these trees. In the distance, you see the white columns with the blue-green glass. That is Montgomery Ward's old business offices. Today, it's converted to residential. In fact, you guys know the trade, the Twin Towers, right, in New York, been down for what, 23 years? Same architect. Yamaguchi is the architect there. Now, where the white columns are, that's where the elevators are. And then where the windows are, that's where the office is. So no matter what you did for Montgomery Ward's, everybody got an office view in the exact same size office, regardless how much money you made or how much money you made for the company. Kind of an interesting business philosophy. All right, everybody's going to look down the side of the boat to the right. You're going to see 2 white antennas in a black building slowly over these trees. There you go. Keep watching. That is the 5th tallest building here in Chicago. That is called the John Hancock Building. Has anybody done the 360 full tilt where you tilt over the building? Yes, that's where it's at. We used to have a cool rooftop. I would say rooftop, but it was the 96th floor, and it was all enclosed, but beautiful windows. So after a lot of lies about Chicago, blew a lot of hot air, and we won that World's Fair. Now, people know Chicago's called the Windy City today. It's not because of our wind. It's because of those politicians. They're called windbags, and that's why we're called the Windy City today. So now you know some trivia to get called out on. Now, to prepare for that World's Fair, we're the 16th windiest city in the United States. Boston has more wind than Chicago, and Dodge City, Kansas is the windiest city. Anybody from Dodge City, Kansas? Well, you know, close by? Yeah, see how fun? Look at useless information, the 7th grade teacher, yes. Now, to prepare for that World's Fair, what do? Well, we drained thousands of gallons out of Lake Michigan. We planted thousands of trees, and we built over 250 white plaster buildings. Now, people go, where are those buildings today? We only have 1 building left today. It's the Science and Industry Museum, and it's my favorite museum today. So that's the only building left. People go, what happened to them? People were destroying them, lighting them on fire, and damaging them, so the city took them down. Now, we still have tunnels that go underneath our city today. Is that incredible? We do not know where all those tunnels go. If you want to see a real tunnel, my advice, go to Harry Carey's restaurant. It's on Kinsey in Dearborn. You do not have to eat there. In fact, I've been there 30 times and never ate there. But go in there, the restaurant, turn right, and you go down the set of stairs. You can see a real tunnel and learn all about Al Capone. It's pretty cool. Now, who built the first Ferris wheel? George Ferris. He was a railroad worker, a steel worker, and he built that first Ferris wheel. That first Ferris wheel, 36 boxcars. It held 60 people in each boxcar. One was empty for the live orchestra. Now, it took 26 minutes to go all the way around one time. And what's interesting, from May till September in 1893, 28 million people came to Chicago for that World's Fair. That was half the population of the United States at the time. Pretty cool. Now, has anybody heard the city called Chicago called the White City before? Yes, you read the book Devil in the White City. And why is that? Because they were white plaster buildings. And the other thing, we had our first serial killer. Do you remember his name? H.H. Holmes. Well done, sir. Yes. So if you like all these fun facts, read that book, Devil in the White City. You can download the podcast. It's pretty incredible. So a lot of fun. Now we do have bridges, right? 37 bridges. How do they open? From the middle open or from one side all the way open? Did anybody see the bridges open yesterday? The letter Y. Look at this building to your right. Doesn't it look like an upside down Y, or it's on a Y? On a Y. This is 150 North Riverside. This is by Gesh and Partners. He's pretty amazing, this company, architectural. It's only 40 feet across. Why? There are railroads that go underneath this building. In fact, look inside the glass window, 40 feet across. You can see our boat's reflection. You see the 8 steel beams, how they wrap all the way to the top of that building. Well, how does that building stay up in the wind, cold, rain, snow, and now we get tornado warnings? Well, at the very top of this building, there are 2 rollers. Each roller holds 160,000 gallons of water. It is all computer generated. When the wind is pushing on that building, the rollers roll the opposite way to keep that building straight up in the air. Is that incredible engineering? It is a LEED Platinum building. It has won several of their own awards. They have their own honeybees on property. In fact, you guys can walk down here and see the honeybees working. Every year they give everybody in that building a small jar of local honey. Now, if you work in that building, you must bring your badge. You know why? There are no buttons in the elevator. It knows what floor to drop you off by your badge. Is that incredible? Built-in security, everything. Now, this is 100 North Riverside. Look all the way at the top. You see the circles up at the very top? It's supposed to look like salt and pepper shakers. It was designed for the Morton Salt Company, but Boeing bought the building. Now, Boeing's moved to West Virginia. They got a few workers here today. But over here on this side of the building, towards the front on the right, notice at the top it's different. In fact, we could be underneath this building throwing a frisbee, throwing a football, kicking a soccer ball. The support's from the top, not from the bottom. So if I'm holding a cup of ice water, cantilever, all the support's from the top. Once we're under this bridge, look back, see the silver X up there? Those are called trellises, and there's 5 of them. And that's what's supporting that building. Is that incredible engineering? Yes, Chicago is quite amazing. Remember when you're in school, the teacher would say, where there's a will, there's a way. That's right. Now to your right, this is Art Deco again, built in the 1920s, set back. But look real quick to your left. This is the Opera House. Now, doesn't it look like an armchair? You can sit back on it. People say it also looks like a throne. I'm going to talk about that building on the way back, but you won't see that angle. We'll be closer to it. Now we're going to go back to the cell phones out when we get in between these two. Here we go, here we go. Yep. Ready? 1,454 feet tall. That is Sears Willis Tower. Now you guys see those 5 glass boxes? They're taking a picture of us as they're taking a picture of us or them. 25,000 people go up there every day. And you guys see the antenna up there? The antenna does not count for the height of that building. They're communication antennas, so they're removable TV antennas. Yes, now that is the 23rd tallest building in the world. Take a look back. You guys see that the square box? This is a map of the South Branch of the river. You guys see that red box up there? That is the largest "You Are Here" map in the world. Yes. I've been a tour guide for 3.5 years, and they told me for years nothing was on that building. They paid $1 million to put that up, but it worked, right? Now to your left, 311 South Wacker Drive. It's a pink granite building. Once we get under this bridge, I'm going to have you look over your left shoulder again. Now this building over here is gorgeous. In fact, at the very top is a crown. The architect designed that crown to look like his wife's wedding ring. Wasn't that sweet of him? Yes, 1,400 lights light up that building at night. Used to be over 2,000 lights, but the birds were flying into it, so we had to tone it down. Now look far left. You see the building with the silver statue back there? That is the Chicago Tribune building. That is Art Deco as well. Now what's interesting, it's the Chicago Board of Trades, one of my favorite buildings to go into. Now her name is Ceres. She's a goddess of agriculture. Now the architect put her up there, but he never put a face on her because he believed there would never be a building tall enough to see her face. Boy, was he wrong on that, yes. Beautiful, beautiful. And then we just went under to your right. This is the large post office. In fact, it's so large, look at a freeway, a highway goes underneath this building. And you guys are like, why such a massive post office? Now it's corporate offices today. Because remember Montgomery Ward's, he had that huge catalog company, so they had to build a massive post office to support his industry. Now the post office has moved next door. In fact, who's been the top of Sears Willis Tower? Anybody on the boat? I didn't ask. Yeah. In fact, if you look over here, they have a soccer field, basketball, grilling area up there. It's beautiful. It used to be open to the public. They don't let us up there anymore. But here's your new post office right here, built in 1996 over these trees. You can see beautiful green glass windows. That is a $30 million lobby. Whoa, who owns a post office? Everybody on this boat owns that post office. Now, being a teacher and a tour guide, I teach. We're coming up on my school in a little bit. I don't get to take the days off in the winter, but we only run one boat. Can you believe we run all year round? Yes, we do run one boat. And they asked the architect, they said, hey, why did you build a $30 million lobby? He goes, well, I thought people would rent it out for weddings and parties. Well, that was in 1996. It's 2024. How many people have rented out that lobby? Zero, I know. And it might be location. I've been in there twice. It is gorgeous, by the way. But let's come over here on the left side. I'm going to talk about this building. It's called the Reed. Now, this is 8 months old. It's our newest residential building. Now, I'm going to talk about structural engineer. In fact, I was here on Friday. I helped one of the captains of our boat. She lives on her boat all year round over here, so I was waiting for her. And what's interesting about this building, you see the round gray columns? Those are called caissons. We go 100 feet down below, 6 levels of bedrock before we build up. Our ground is very spongy. Oh, someone's getting married, eh? Where's the bride? She's hiding. I know. So the second level is the private parking, deeded 50 grand additional, and then up the next level the grills and pool, and then all the way up our residential. But look at that view behind us. I asked the guy, went in, how much does it cost for the smallest studio? He goes, I have no idea. I was like, oh. So, but I looked at, it's gone up 100 grand in a year. Now over there, and then the West Loop. If you haven't been to the West Loop, oh my gosh, it's a hipster, fun area. I finally went again last week. I don't usually go over there, but it is a lot of fun. You guys remember Oprah Winfrey when she lived in Chicago? She built Harpo Studios in the West Loop. That was actually the Skid Row of Chicago. And then she moved to California, sold her Harpo Studios to McDonald's, and all that area has grown up. So I think this is going to be our new West Loop, but this is called the South Loop. Look at, we got a soccer field that went in. That is only 3 weeks old. And I think these are pickleball courts. Do you see that? Do you agree? Yeah, it is. So they're going to start using this area. You see this little trailer? It says Chicago's next great neighborhood with the 78. This is going to be called the 78 because remember we have 77 communities. In fact, it used to be called District 78. I was like, ooh, we're in the Hunger Games, I felt like yesterday. In fact, if we kept going that direction south, in 30 days we'd end up in the Mississippi. In fact, anybody on the boat from Minnesota? Do I have any Minnesotans on the boat? Yes. Duluth, Minnesota has the oldest vertical lifting bridge today. Now you see that bridge house, doesn't it look haunted? Yeah, I'd like to do a ghost tour up there. I mean, perfect, maybe on Halloween. Today, it's all remote control. Who uses this bridge today? Amtrak. That is a very important bridge to them. 75% of their trains go over that bridge. Very important. It goes up very slowly. It's not very fast. And then over here, this is Chinatown. Isn't this gorgeous? This is Ping Tom Park. Now, who is Ping Tom? He was an immigrant that came to Chicago, and notice how straight this river is. Well, he brought in immigrants to make it straight. It used to zigzag, and he made this portion of the river nice and straight. So we dedicated this park to him. He passed away in 1998. We dedicated it to him in 1999. and this beautiful pagoda coming up on your right. In fact, how do you guys, you know how I get to work every day? I take the water taxi. How cool is that? And it's free because Wendella owns the water taxi, so it's free to me to take it to work every day. But isn't that incredible? If you do want to go to Chinatown, it is fun to take the taxi. You can buy an all-day pass, and if you walk out the doors there's a yellow marking on the sidewalk. It'll take you all the way to Chinatown. It's pretty cool. Look at the trees. You guys picked the best time of year. This is fantastic. All right, I'm going to put the microphone down for the next 10 to 12 minutes. You guys walk around the boat, get a cocktail, socialize, take some to see the building and go inside. You can go inside. It's public access down below, over 9 different restaurants. In fact, where all those restaurants are today, back in the day, that used to be where all the computers, the servers were, because it was the coolest part of the building. And they do have automatic window washing on that building as well. All right, coming up on your right, the Mercantile Exchange building. This is a reddish pinkish granite building. In the very top, you see the zigzag formation. Why is that? Well, everybody in the city wants an office view. Everybody wants to see the outside. This way we get 16 offices with the window view. Now, in front of us, the bridge. But look to the right. You've been seeing different bridge houses. Look at the bridge house. The roof, over 100 years old, that bridge house. Look how close it is to that building. 6 to 7 inches. Yeah, did they calculate their math correctly on that building? They sure did. In fact, next April, I won't be working, but my students are going to take the architectural boat tour, and they're going to have a test. See, I'm not very nice, but they asked, can we go on your tour? I said, yes, April will go, but I won't be the tour guide. Now, Seattle, who has the largest Starbucks roastery reserve in the world today? Chicago, you guys need to go there. It's a 10-minute walk down Michigan Avenue, 5 levels, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a rooftop bar on the 5th floor. Yeah, an espresso martini sounds good tonight. All right, over here to your right, look at this. In the 1800s, none of these buildings were here. In fact, we hosted the Republican Convention in 1868. We put up a temporary setting called the Wigwam, and we nominated our 16th president right here in Chicago. Now, you guys know the DNC was here, what, 8-9 weeks ago? The city was a ghost town. It was pretty wild. We pushed school back a week. People work in these buildings. They made everybody work from home Monday through Friday. And it was eerie in the city. In fact, Malia Obama came on our boat. We did not know she was coming on our tour, but we knew because the Secret Service came on the boat before everybody else, checked the boat, checked our records, make sure we're up to date, and then they escorted us on the boat. So you guys are doing the same tour. Look behind you, beautiful picture of the L train coming through. If you want to get that picture, stand up, grab it. And then over here to your right, look at all the Chicagoans sunbathing in our chairs. Yes, this is a river walk from here to the lake, 1.2 miles. You see those chairs? The city puts those chairs out every spring. They're going to be taking those chairs away any day now. Very sad. But look at the building above, the green glass. See how it bends with the river? That's called contextualism, another style of architect. This was voted the most beautiful building on the water, 333 West Wacker Drive. A famous movie was filmed there. Dad was working in his office. His son was skipping school. What movie? Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Now look at the green glass windows. How did they come up with that color? The architect had a beverage in his briefcase. It was in a green glass bottle. Anybody want to guess what beverage he had in his briefcase? Sprite's a good guess? Nope. Heineken? Nope. It was a bottle of Perrier, sparkling water. Now remember, 37 bridges. Take a look up above. Look at this building straight ahead to your right. Look in the middle. See how it looks like our bridges? See how it represents our 37 bridges. Now go all the way down river level. You see the projectors and look across the boat. The largest movie screen in the world. Yes, Art on the Mark, a local show. It's 30 minutes, local artists, it's music. It is fantastic, but it's a little chilly to watch it. Maybe next summer come back and catch the show. And it's free till December. Over here to your right, you see the silver things under the bridge. Those are called eyelashes. Why do we call them eyelashes? It protects the people walking underneath the bridge from debris or trash falling on them. To your right, look at this building. It is one building, but different on the right versus the left. That's called postmodern. We're honoring the old versus the new. And then down below is our river walk. And once again, we got a little water park there. And then my favorite gelatos, but it's closed for the year. And it's fun to get the gelatos, catch the show every day. What do we think of Chicago? Do we like it? It's so cool, right? Yeah, it is. It's a magical city, I like to say. Not in January, February, March. Okay, over here to your right? This is the Riverwalk, and this is the theater area. Why do we call it the theater area? Well, when people see water, they want to sit back, relax, and enjoy the water in the summer. Now, all these buildings have people in it, so they come out at lunchtime and sit out here. There's coffee shops, restaurants in all these buildings. It's pretty fun. You hear that noise? Welcome to Chicago. The horn and the siren. You know you're in Chicago. I know, every time. All right, coming up on our right, you're going to see a building with the 2 gold 5s. That's 55 Wacker Drive. This is another style of architect. That's called brutalism. I call it the hashtag Chicago building, or the pound sign on a keyboard. Used to be the home of Blue Shield Blue Cross. And then to the building to the left of it, you see the gray granite building square. Now that building's getting some sunlight, but it's very difficult to get sunlight. See in the middle of the windows, you see the silver things in the middle of the windows? Those are called mullions, and what that does is it draws the sunlight inside that building. Because it's so dark and gray, it doesn't get a lot of sunlight during the day. Now a famous advertising company's in here, 35 West Wacker Drive, the Leo Barnett Advertising Company. You guys know Ronald McDonald, Tony the Tiger, Snap, Crackle, Pop, and the Marble Man all came out of that advertising company. Now look in front of the boat. It's shimmering back there. There's a green terracotta brick with the gold at the top. It looks like a champagne bottle. That is real 24 karat gold on top of that building. In fact, it's so thin, it's thinner than saran wrap. Now, why did they build it like a champagne bottle, the cork? Well, it was built in 1920s during Prohibition. Remember, you couldn't buy, drink, or sell alcohol? Now, it is the home of the Pendry Hotel. Yes, there is a rooftop bar up there. They serve sushi and cocktails. It is not open on Monday. It's on Michigan Avenue. Isn't that gorgeous? Now to the right, the Jewelers Building. You guys know this building from the movie Batman and Transformers. We blew up this building several times in that movie. In fact, you see the 4 small tempiers and the large temple. In fact, we call it the Jewelers Building because back in the day, there was a giant elevator under the small temples. You would drive your vehicle with your jewels inside and go all the way at the top and sell them up there for safety. Yes. Pretty cool building. To your right, this is called the London Guarantee. It is now owned by Hilton Hotels today. In fact, this white tower, it's called Mather Tower. It was the tallest building in the world for only 10 days. After that great Chicago fire, everybody in the world was building skyscrapers. Beautiful. Anybody, my locals, been to the London House up there? Some of my locals, yeah. It's a beautiful view. The service, I know, $24 for sugar drinks. I know. I've been up there 4 times. I work off of tips. I'm a generous tipper. I tip them before I even order the service. But I had the chef came on the boat. She goes, I will treat you. I said, don't treat me. Take care of our guests in the city. Give them the service they deserve. All right. People are waving, hello, Chicago. So that right there, French Beaux Art, see how it bends in the columns and the tempier up there? But look at this beautiful picture to your left in the sunlight. One of my favorites right there, the Chicago Tribune, the Wrigley Building, the Intercontinental Rooms. In fact, most of the people that take our tour in the winter are here for a conference. Behind it, see the building with the needle? The sun's behind it, the point, that's the Prudential Building. And then to the left of the Prudential Building, that square white building with the dark vertical lines, that is the 4th tallest building here in Chicago. That's the Aon Building, formerly the Standard Oil Building. Now, we made a mistake on that building. We used beautiful Italian marble on the outside of that building. But he forgot about that thing called winter. After 10 years, it started to deteriorate. They were concerned pieces would fall off and land on people down below and they would get hurt. So what did they do? They had to replace all that beautiful Italian marble with granite. It cost over $80 million, more money to replace the outside of that building than to actually build that building many years ago. Now we don't make too many mistakes, but over here on your right, see the Swiss Hotel. Notice it looks like a triangle. Remember this architect, Harry Weiss, he loved the nautical theme, right? It's like the bow of a ship or the front of the boat, very structurally sound. Everybody gets a view. But look in the middle, the Swiss Hotel in the black square building. See the undulated balconies in the middle? Draw your eyes on that building, go all the way down. It looks like a waterfall. It's called the Aqua Building. Jeannie Gang is the architect. Now, why did she make them undulated, the balconies? Well, we have a bird issue in Chicago. Over 1 million birds die every year in our city. They can't see these buildings. She designed that building so the birds would not fly into it. Now, our newer buildings, you must make sure the birds can see it. Now, Little Hollywood, who's seen the Netflix series The Ozark? Some of you remember in the first episode, the body falls out of the building? It was filmed in that building right there. Also, Jeannie Gang, Lady Gaga used to date the gentleman that owned the penthouse in that building too. Now here, look at this, the wavy French fry building. I call this the wavy French fry building, but it's called the St. Regis. This is the largest, tallest residential building in the world, designed by a female architect, Jeannie Gang. Isn't that incredible? Now look on the 83rd floor. You guys see up there, doesn't it look like a hole up there? Now Jeannie Gang did not put a hole in her building on purpose. In fact, in the wind, the building was shuttering. When a building shutters back and forth in the wind like that, eventually the windows will crack and break. So she removed 4 apartments and put in that blowhole. Notice the second building, it's set back. Those are called setbacks. So she gave everybody a view of the river and everybody a view of the lake. Isn't that incredible? Now in the middle, the St. Regis Hotel. It's only 1 year and 4 months old. They have a rooftop bar on the 14th floor. In fact, that is the best rooftop bar in the city. The service, the food, phenomenal. It's called Mirum, M-I-R-U. I saved up all my tip money from the summer, and I took my friends up there a month ago, and it was incredible. $19 a cocktail, very different prices. They dug more dirt out of this river than the Panama Canal. Then on January 2nd, 1900, they blew up the dams, reversed the flow of the river, and in 10 days, we cleaned up our water. Chicagoans, get excited, we got clean water. You guys see the different color in the water over here? St. Louis was like, oh no you don't, you just sent all your polluted water down to us. We're like, no, we didn't do that. They're like, yes you did, we're gonna take you to court. We're like, okay, where do you want to have court? They're like, we'll come to Chicago. Who do you think won? Chicago won. Now anybody on the boat from St. Louis? Oh no, I got people over here, in the back. Oh, you might have to plug your ears. I haven't put them on the boat. But how they get us back, they take our polluted water, they bottle it up, and they sell it back to us as Bud Light and Budweiser. Isn't that mean? I know. I was like, good thing we sell it on our boat, right? So it can't be that bad. Now look at this, Indiana. We can see Indiana. All that pollution, see they're getting us back here in Chicago. Indiana, 20-minute drive south, they sued us. Michigan sued us. In Wisconsin, 40-minute drive north sued us. In Canada sued us because when we reversed the flow of the river, they thought we would drain Lake Michigan. It would take 450 years to drain Lake Michigan. We lost the court battle, so we put on our free lock today. And that is used, it is free. The Army Corps of Engineers runs it. In fact, my next tour is my last tour of the year, and we're doing the lake and river. See how special today is? I know, it's going to be lovely on the lake today. This is the 3rd largest lake in the world. Deepest part, 930 feet deep, near Green Bay, Wisconsin. But look at this view, you guys. Look at that view. There you go. Don't stand on the benches or chairs, because I'll get in big trouble, even though it's my last day for the year. Season, I should say. But I want to come back. Yeah. I mean, isn't that incredible? How fun is this, right? Coming off the hotel key right here. Help you out. Beautiful. Football field. In fact, who has enough friends to throw a party in there? Anybody on the boat? I always wonder, right? Maybe Beyonce, Taylor Swift could throw a party in there. Yes. It's cute. Labor Day Labor Day weekend, I walked down here on Sunday and they had a movie outdoor and they had popcorn, s'mores, candy for all the kids. And I walked by and they're like, would you like a s'more? And I was like, I'm not staying at the hotel. They're like, help yourself. We're local. I mean, see how cool public access. You could just walk through little events. And people are very friendly. Have you guys noticed that in our city? Very friendly, yeah. Feel free to ask for directions. If you use your phone, it'll send you underground. So we got underground roads, so it'll throw you off. So don't be afraid to ask. And then once we're under this bridge to your right, you're going to know this building. This is NBC Tower, Art Deco. See the vertical lines? It looks like Rockefeller Square in New York. It's residential as well. In fact, the 5 o'clock NBC News, sometimes they interview people from Chicago. And you guys remember Jerry Springer when he was alive? He used to record his show here every day when it was running. Look at these trees. I mean, isn't this pretty? Wow. And then in the middle, you can see the John Hancock building again with the 2 white antennas right in between the green and the glass building there. And then to the right, this is the University of Chicago. Their main campus is down south when Harry Met Sally was filmed there. But this is one of their campuses. Hello, ladies. Hello. Everybody's giddy. It's a lovely day in our city. See this green glass windows? That's the professor's office. As we go by, you see the setbacks. 36 classrooms in that building. That is a top 10 university. In fact, these ladies are wearing their hats. Are you guys alumni there? Oh, wow. She has a big pocketbook. Yeah. Did you get a scholarship? Partial? Oh, no. Now, yeah, you pay all that money, you don't get a view. Well, 90 Nobel Prize winners out of the University of Chicago, second to Harvard. Is that impressive? Yes. Yes. In fact, we just had our 101 person win the Nobel Prize winner 2 weeks ago. Yes. Their main campus looks like this. See the Chicago Tribune? That is neo-Gothic styled architect. Isn't that incredible? Now this is the old Chicago Tribune newspaper. Today it's residential. Look at the flying buttresses. In fact, it looks like Notre Dame in Paris. Now if you love world history, walk around that building. Parts from all over the world are cemented and labeled in that building. It's incredible. The Wrigley building, you guys look at the clock. Does it look like Roman numerals on each number on that clock? Or do they look like W's for each number on that clock? Little ghost tour on the boat. I think it stands for Wrigley, right? And over here to your left, you see this bridge house? That's where the first military base was, Fort Dearborn. You guys seen our city flag? The 4 stars with the 2 blue stripes. It's on our bridge. Let me tell you what they mean. We're very proud of our city flag. In fact, the locals here in our city, it's probably the most popular tattoo. But those 4 stars are very significant. The first star, Fort Dearborn, first military base. Second, we had that great Chicago fire. Third, we had the Second World's Fair, remember 1893, and then we had the fair again in 1933. Now you know a little bit about Chicago, the 4 F's, Fort, Fire, Fair, Fair. All right, well, we've come to the end of our tour. Thank you for choosing Wendella. By you guys being here, we have...
As the mobster fought for his life, the police department lauded Detective Lang.
This is awesome.
Lang is portrayed as a hero. He's given a special service award, extra pay, and they charge Nitty with attempted murder.
Doctors managed to save Nitty's life. As he recovered in the hospital, the mobster had plenty of time to ponder his revenge. Weeks later, Nitty got some payback. Indiana police officers found Ted Newberry's body on the side of the road. Someone had shot him in the back of the head. The cops couldn't pin the Newberry murder on anyone and eventually halted their investigation. With Newberry gone, Nitty turned his attention to Mayor Anton Cermak. But the mobster never got the chance to get even. On February 15th, 1933, Mayor Cermak attended a rally in Miami, Florida, for the newly elected president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. During the event, Mayor Cermak walked toward Roosevelt, hoping to have a word with the president-elect.
At that moment, a man named Zed Gara
climbed upon a park bench, took out a revolver, and began to fire at the president and Cody Cermak. The bullets caught Cermak instead of the president.
On March 6th, Anton Cermak died. Cermak might have been dead and gone, but Nitty's troubles were far from over.
And welcome to the spectacular news of annual Pier, named in honor of our 2016 centennial celebration. Soaring in height of nearly 200 feet, the view from the top is absolutely breathtaking.